this is a funny one. When my mum was younger, she worked in care home for about 10 years-ish. And just for fun, I showed her that TikTok, and she didn't laugh. So I looked at her, and I asked her jokingly, did that ever happen with you when you worked at the care home? She went suspiciously quiet and laughed awkwardly. No, of course not. No, that never happened with me. No. My mum knows some shit.
Oh, this is fun. Had a patient in the ICU who was not actively dying, but was suffering from a lot of ICU delirium, so very, very out of it. Her son came to visit her, and they hung out for a little bit, and then he left, and I went in the room and talked to her, and she was talking about how her son had just come out as being gay recently, and she was like, it doesn't bother me. I knew he was gay from when he was like 5 years old, like I could tell. But the kid's dad was very upset about it, and they had a lot of issues about it. Well, this lady told me, she was like, the dad would be even more upset if he found out that he wasn't even the kid's father. Ooh. I'll never forget it. Okay, so I did not work long-term care, but I do have some really interesting stories from geriatric behavioral care and hospice. We're gonna start with my favorite and call her Margot. I knew Margot was a baddie before she told me anything because we both hated the same staff. And basically one day she actually overheard me standing up for her against one of the staff. I stepped them out of the room to do it, but she still heard it. And I actually earned her trust through it, so it worked. So after failing that test successfully, she started talking to me a lot more about her life. So she finally gets a discharge date. And if you've ever worked with sex offenders or behavioral health in general, or with abused kids, you'll know what I mean, but she was feeling me out to see if she could trust me to say or do something. So about 2 days before discharge, we're chilling and listening to her favorite album. I'm not gonna say what it was in case any of my old coworkers see this because I'm not a snitch, but we were listening to it and I told her that it would be my last shift on the unit. This is the last time that I'd see her. And she just goes, oh. And she gets really quiet for a few minutes. And because I'm dumb as fuck, I thought that she was just sad because she was gonna like miss me or something. So I was just like, it's okay, Margot, this is a good thing. It means that you're free. You never have to see me again. And she was just like, oh no, sweetie. It's not that. Well, what is it, Margot? She got quiet again and I felt really fucking awkward because I could not feel the vibe. Like, I did not understand the moment. Then the song that was playing goes off and she goes, hold on, after this one. Okay, I'm still very confused, okay. So she's just chilling, vibing, happy, and I'm sitting here really awkwardly waiting for this song to go off, just confused as fuck. Finally it does, and the next one comes on, and she goes, did I ever tell you why I love listening to this album every day? No, but now I'm curious. I took out a loan at 18 to pay a band to play this song at our wedding. You mean that dude that, like, hit you? Oh yes, that's not why it's my favorite. I played it for him when he died. Oh, that... Margot? Yes. Didn't you say your husband went missing in the 80s? He did. And you played him the song as he died? I sure did. And in my defense, I didn't know what the fuck to say. And I'm from the South. So I said, goodbye, Earl. And she left. And then I kept my fucking mouth shut and minded my business.
For anyone who's curious, yeah, that's a real thing. Those Depression-era women, they're built different. And you're not sure if you believe them because of the dementia. But I've had so many women tell me what really happened to their ex-husband. All while just smiling, oh so pleasantly, and being oh so sweet. So if you're going into medicine, prepare. Bye, friends.
And it's not just the deathbed. I worked at a same-day surgery clinic once where they would just do quick outpatient procedures like EGDs, colonoscopies, that kind of thing. We had a nurse anesthetist on staff, and sometimes she would use propofol and sometimes she would use Versed. That's just the closest thing to truth serum I've ever seen. I once had a man who, it was his wife who was his next of kin person with him, and he was so nervous about the anesthesia. And so I asked his wife to step out for just a minute so that he could get ready. And I said to him, I was like, everything okay? Are you nervous about the procedure? And he said, do not let me say the name. We'll just call her Becky. Do not let me say the name Becky. I was like, sir, I will do my best, but I can't control what you say. In post-op, he sits straight up, he looks at his wife, he lays back down. He sits straight up and he goes, did I say Becky?
Oh yeah, that is definitely a thing that absolutely nobody talks about enough in nursing. If you work in a skilled nursing facility, then you know, as well as I do, that there's a lot of little ladies whose husbands died of mysterious circumstances. If you work on a memory unit, I know for a fact you have at least one story where an old lady with dementia was talking about how she poisoned her husband. A lot of little ladies have killed their husbands in like the 60s and 70s and got away with it, and like they get dementia and then they confess to it all and they're just not with it and they have no idea. It happens actually a bit more frequently than I think a lot of people realize, and we all just kind of brush it off and we're like, that's nice, Joanne, it's time for pudding cups.
Ooh, do I got some stories. So I've been a CNA since I was 16 for the past 8 years, and I've heard my fair share of deathbed confessions, but this one I'll never forget because it was my very first one. I used to take care of this lady who would carry a Raggedy Ann doll, who she would just refer to as the gardener's baby, and would tell us that the gardener was a family friend of hers. We're like, okay. But when her husband would come and visit her with his caregiver, she would drown it in the toilet. So her husband eventually passes away and she goes to his funeral. She comes back that very same night and I'm helping her go to bed, and she tells me that she never told her husband about the affair she had. She told me that she had an affair with her family gardener, who was a married black man back in the 1950s while her husband was away at the war. He eventually passed away in a car accident before she gave birth, and when she gave birth to the baby, she drowned it in the toilet and buried it in her backyard. And then she died 3 days later.
That post is very much true. I had this couple back in 2014 when I first started being a CNA. They were both like 102, 103 years old. And they were from the South. And they happily participated in the Tulsa Massacre. And when she started to pass away, she said she saw shaking black children in her room. And we had to switch her room twice. And she just kept seeing them. And then when he started to pass away, he just kept seeing this big black gentleman and his wife just standing there staring at him. And nobody else could see him but those two. And it goes to show you that most of these people in the South that grew up in that Jim Crow era, actively participated in lynchings and all that mob racist activity and everything, they are going to have some demons of their own that they have to deal with. When they cross over to the spiritual world, they are going to be met with every single person that they've killed. And they are going to be judged on every single person that they killed. And that's something that they probably ain't ready for. That's why they try to confess their sins on their deathbed. Because they think it's going to rid them of their wrongdoings, and it's not. Like you killed innocent people for the color of their skin. You're not getting rid of that. So when you meet your maker, you're going to get judged on that. And it's going to be a whole different type of judgment. So I've seen that quite a bit. So, had one who was an active bank robber. Yeah. He never told me where the money was. Kind of irritated me. Not really, but still.
Yeah, no, but seriously, CNAs, nurses, doctors, hospice caregivers, and anything like that, none of the training, the schooling, or anything will really prepare you for the deathbed confessions you hear. It's part of why I had to quit the job. I have heard people confess to some of the darkest and most despicable shit but also some of the saddest, most depressing shit that you'll ever hear in your life. You're never ready for it, and you have to either carry it with you or you attend the funeral service as the last person who heard some of these words. You have to answer the questions that some of these families have, and you have to choose whether you reveal these things or you carry the weight with you forever. So if you're going to go into that field, yeah, brace yourself. It's going to be a ride.